Welcome to Signature Required. It is intended for Tennesseans by Tennesseans. The heart of a Tennessean, the volunteer state, is serve, and we do so largely without self-promotion.
And these are genuine people that get up every day and want to make art, or want to educate the nations, or want to have a heart of love in a way that makes a difference.
Learn from 50 years of experience, take a nugget away, and then go share it with a friend. Brian Clifford, Director for Tennessee's Office of Outdoor Recreation. Welcome to Signature Required.
Great, thank you. What a beautiful day.
The Director for the Office of Outdoor Recreation. I'm really suspicious that's a made-up title, Brian. Are you actually a real appointee by Governor Lee? Is this true?
It is true, and oddly enough, there are 23 other states that have my exact position, too. So we are not alone in Tennessee. We were the 24th state to open an Office of Outdoor Recreation, which for us is a signal that this administration and our General Assembly is hyper-focused on Tennessee's great outdoors and using that to improve our economy and quality of life. So no, it's not a made-up title, and there's actually a lot of work behind it. There's a lot of fun, too, but there's a lot of work that we're doing for the state.
I talked to a lot of people in preparation for this podcast, everyone from my 6-year-old son up until a lot of my friends, and all of them had their own impression on the Office of Outdoor Recreation. My 6-year-old was kind of like, is that recess? Like, is he in charge of recess?
I love that.
And my buddies were all like, okay, how do I get his job? Like, what can we do to make it to where I can get his role? So for those that don't know exactly what the Office of Outdoor Recreation is, other than just kind of guessing from the title, why don't you fill us in a little bit on what that actually is?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. In our office, some of my peers will refer to me as the chief camp counselor of the state.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
the recess analogy, it's actually pretty good because that's what we want people to think about the outdoors. It's a place of excitement and fun, and we like to say that outdoor recreation breeds conservation. So the more that you get out in the outdoors and you enjoy it, the more you're going to want to take care of it. And that's a lot of the work that we're trying to do through our office. We want to protect our environment, be conservationists so that our grandchildren can enjoy this great state. But we want people to have a good quality of life, have a good community, and enjoy getting out in nature for all the benefits that it brings, including significant health benefits that we're learning more and more about every day.
I want to read a couple stats. We're going to go into more detail on these later, but I just want to go through a handful of these one after the other just to give a scope for how significant this office really is. So there's 61 state parks in Tennessee as of September 2025. There's over 12,000 documented caves in Tennessee.
That's right.
Which is the most in North America.
Most people do not know that.
I definitely did not know. I figured it was Mammoth Cave and like a couple others, but that's a lot more. We're going to talk about that later.
Than any other state in the country.
Does that mean we have more bats than every other state in the country?
We do have a lot of bats.
Okay, just
Yes.
checking to make sure that's accurate.
Yes.
Couple
And
others
bats are great.
They are,
Yes.
but spooky, but great. Yeah. Okay.
Couple other stats on here. The Tennessee State Park visitors inject $550 million into the local economy annually, and outdoor recreation generates $11.9 billion for the Tennessee economy, which includes the creation of over 109,000 jobs.
That's right. And I'll update it. As of our most recent data, it's actually $13 billion to Tennessee's economy and 109,000 jobs.
So recess makes bank.
That's
is
right.
what we're hearing
It does.
here.
Yes. A
It's
very
more than just
lucrative
frolic.
industry.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
frolicking in the woods makes money.
Great careers, great jobs in the outdoors.
So we're going to go into all kinds of questions that we want to ask you about Tennessee. We have such a unique state and all these things, but I feel like in order to properly put this into context, we do have to know a little bit of who you are and kind of your backstory, because a handful of people watch the video for our podcast, but a lot of people are just able to listen. So naturally people kind of imagine in their mind, if they can't see you, who is sitting here talking. And I think the director of outdoor recreation could look a lot of different ways to different people and have
Yeah.
a different backstory. So maybe just talk for a second about your history as an outdoorsman and just your past, because I think it really informs the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, so I was blessed. I grew up in East Tennessee, in the hills of East Tennessee, outside of Chattanooga. A great childhood where I was able to experience the outdoors, playing in the woods, going on trails, fishing lakes, jumping off cliffs, doing a lot of things my parents probably were a little worried about, but very adventurous for me. And I took that with me throughout my life still today. A lot of folks say I act like a little kid in my job, which I kind of like. I do act like a kid. I love to play outside. But my career path wasn't always to be the director of outdoor recreation for the state. It actually wasn't even to be in state government. I'm a recovering attorney right now. I practiced for about a decade doing business litigation, defending companies against business and employment claims, and then enjoyed that.
What firm?
Several firms, Waller Lansden, which is now Holland and Knight, and then Littler Mendelson, which is another one, Nashville-based law firms. Enjoyed that work, got to help clients improve their bottom line, solve problems, get them out of trouble. That was all great. I had the opportunity to join public service, particularly in the Lee administration, working with the Bureau of Conservation. So helping with the administration and strategy for Tennessee state parks and natural areas and archaeology, and just really got to hone in on my passion for outdoors and just turn that into a job, which was great. And so as I continued doing that, I got a little sharper in my work. And when we had the idea for the Office of Outdoor Recreation, that was something I definitely wanted to do. So it worked out, and here I am today.
I have to imagine that the leap from lawyer to director of recess is a big difference in your day-to-day life. So you were helping your clients, doing all that, but what part of going to law school and being a lawyer do you carry into your job today? It can't all be fun and being outside and kayaking down a river.
Yes. So, of course, being a director of the office, it involves a lot of administrative work and leadership. So the lawyering skills and training that I got translate really well into that. The ability to advocate for a position, to be organized, to have conversations, solve problems. Those are all things that I have to do in my job. And I do a lot of that, even though I do get to play outside. And really, when I play outside, it's more about getting other people to be outside and engage in the outdoors. For instance, we just had a group of leaders in East Tennessee where we took them paddling on the Nolichucky River. And I'll love to tell you about that river. It's amazing. But that's a lot of the job. But the lawyering skills translates more toward the administrative piece, the advocacy piece, and moving the office forward in that way.
So you get stakeholders just kind of high on the adrenaline and the endorphins of being outside, going down the river, and then they can't tell you no, right? Then they sign on the dotted line.
That's a lot of it.
It's a new tool.
But they realize they want to sign on the dotted line because we work with local officials, legislators, and we help to show them what the outdoors can do for their communities. And so when they get out and experience it, they realize, okay, people are going to love this. And if we can get them more of it, their quality of life is going to improve. They're going to bring in tourism. Their economic development is going to improve. So it's a little bit of drinking the Kool-Aid, but everyone loves the outdoors. They just need to figure out a way to experience it in a comfortable way. And that's where our office can really help, is show them that there are very comfortable ways to experience the outdoors, that anyone in your community can do it. And it may even bring in travelers that want to come experience what you have to offer.
So I've got to pay respect to my friends that had the important question of how do I get Brian's role into the future? So I also wonder, like, how do you get on a governor's radar for being an outdoorsman and being a good fit for it? Can you just talk through that narrative? Like, the governor, I imagine, has a pretty big Rolodex.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, luckily for Governor Lee, he is an avid outdoorsman, conservationist. He is probably the best conservation governor we've ever had. He's made record investments into the outdoors. He's influenced the legislature. The legislature has made record investments into the outdoors, billions of dollars. So really, it wasn't hard to advocate for the role. You just got to do good work, show that what they're interested in is something that you can contribute to, and it just seemed to work out.
So
The governor was already there. There was no convincing him that the outdoors are great. He was already there and advocating it for himself.
And how did they find you specifically? Was it something that there was a role that you said, kind of raised your hand for and said, I would be a great fit for this? Or like, how did it come all the way to you?
So I was involved in the strategy and planning process of thinking about what we wanted to do for Tennessee's Great Outdoors. So helping to come up with Tennessee's strategy and talking through the opportunities. So I was involved in the planning process, so which helped me kind of map out what we were going to do in Tennessee. And because I had that insight and that involvement and a passion for the outdoors, I think that's what led them to think, well, Brian would be a great fit for that office. So being involved in the front end, helping to contribute to the collective thought about the outdoors, I helped to bring stakeholders together across multiple state agencies. We now call it the Tennessee Outdoor Partnership. That's a whole story in itself. But we have a huge public-private partnership that comes together every quarter with commissioners and CEOs that all talk about what needs to happen in Tennessee around conservation and outdoor recreation and setting long-term goals. So being involved in that process and helping to coordinate that group, I was blessed to be able to help move that forward. So once we had our goals and had our strategy, we opened the office. I feel like it was kind of a natural indication that I might be the right person for that. And luckily I was, and they didn't push back on it.
I think what's relatable about your story is everyone has a skill set and everyone has hobbies or passions, right? I think where the secret sauce is figuring out what you're good at and what you love and how you can use those to serve the greater good.
Yes.
And I think everyone has that intersection. It's just pinpointing what that is. So I like stories like yours. Like, my natural bend would not be towards administrative work and lawyering, nor am I overly outdoorsy. But with what we're attempting to do, I think that our skill set and passions are overlining to try to do good. And I love having someone on that has found that intersection for themselves.
Yes. I think everyone's goal is to find something that they can do for work that they love. And sometimes people are blessed to find that. It was funny. My daughter made the comment just a few weeks ago. She said, you get paid to just do what you like to do. And I was like, I really do. It's pretty great. But I get to do it and encourage 8 million other Tennesseans to appreciate Tennessee's great outdoors too. So there's a lot of gratification that comes from it, not just personally, but getting to actually serve 8 million Tennesseans and our visitors that way.
Could you talk about your family for a second? Because I could also imagine that having a dad like you would mean that you are required to do all things outdoors. Like, I just could imagine that the adventure that would come along with you and your position would be significant. So can you talk about your family a little bit, your spouse, your kids, just what their interests are?
Yep. So my wife grew up in the same place I did. She had the same kind of opportunity for outdoors that I did. Luckily that she had some outdoor experience. So we kind of shared a lot of those passions. We both grew up. We went to the same elementary, middle, and high school.
Aww.
And she's a year older than me. And so she went to undergrad first to MTSU. And then I went. She says I followed her there. I probably did, but that's okay. It worked out.
You knew a good thing when you had it.
That's right.
Good for you.
So she's great. She loves the outdoors. I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son, and they both love playing outside too. We just, growing up, just right off the bat, we were always hiking, paddling. From the time they could walk, we'd go on a hike. So they got very accustomed to being outside. And a lot of that was I wanted to make sure they had an appreciation for the outdoors. And even now, getting them into things like mountain biking and paddling, they're a little uncomfortable, but I like that because I want them to get over that discomfort so that that's not a barrier for them in the future. If somebody wants to go mountain biking or paddling, they're not going to say, oh, I've never done that. They're going to say, oh, I did that once with my dad or with my mom. I'm okay to go do that with you. And that's just one way I think that all families can look to remove little barriers like that. So later in life, that's just one less barrier for them to get outdoors and enjoy nature. So I would always encourage families, of course, even young families, to just take that step, do a little bit that's uncomfortable, get outside, because that will pay off dividends down the road for those kids.
Well, not just do they know how to mountain bike if their friends want to. It's the power, the grit of knowing they can do something uncomfortable and live.
That's great. Yes.
I think a lot right now, especially in this digital age, there's a tension of patience, right? Nobody wants to wait and build the fruit, grow the fruit of being uncomfortable. But it does. It bears fruit, and it shows you that you can do hard things.
Yes.
So that means I have to try mountain biking, maybe?
Yeah, well, there's a trail system that starts right here in this parking lot.
As long as
I
you
actually
don't
brought my
watch.
bike, and I may use my
don't
lunch hour to do that.
As long as you don't see me attempt this, maybe I will do it in the privacy of Spencer and I at some point.
There you go.
So let's get into some stories, because I think that is just uniquely something that you can do well, because you have such a huge territory, and Tennessee is so unique in that you can be in one part of the state and then another part of the state and feel like you are in different parts of the country.
Yes.
So I just want to first, maybe you start on the Nolichucky River, which is really one of the most fun names to say. Like, if you want to tell that story, I'm totally on board, because we get to say Nolichucky a handful of times. But I'll also allow you to start somewhere else if you want to do that. So why don't you give us a couple stories that'll help give us a flavor?
Yes, I'd love to talk about the Nolichucky. And you're right, Tennessee's geography is pretty unique, because we start in the Appalachian Mountains in the east, and we work west to the Plateau area, and then you continue to the Mississippi Delta. The geography and topography changes dynamically. So even on our rivers, we have a big initiative called Blue Ways TN, where we're making record investments into recreation waterways. And we've picked 15 rivers across the state, 5 in each grand division, to make these investments, to turn them into world-class and comfortable recreation waterways with access development, signage, branding, wayfinding, so people can enjoy these rivers. And so in East Tennessee, you have faster moving, a lot of white water. You get to the Plateau, it slows down a little bit. You get to West Tennessee, it really slows down, and you're starting to turn into the cypress areas. You're going through trees. So there's really a paddling experience for almost anybody right here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
This week, we went to the Nolichucky River, and we took local officials out, legislators. We had 2 mayors, state agencies with TVA, Wildlife Resources, Department of Environment and Conservation, of course, our Office of Outdoor Recreation. But the goal was to show them this river really post-Helene. That river was devastated by Helene.
Yeah.
Access points were wiped out. Davy Crockett Birthplace State Park completely wiped out.
Wow.
There wasn't a single piece of that park left. And we're going through the rebirth process of Davy Crockett Birthplace State Park right now. But helping them understand that that river can recover, and helping them appreciate what it can be going forward. And the Nolichucky, coincidentally, is a Cherokee term that I think translates, from what I understand, to rushing water. And so the Nolichucky, of course, has a very historic past. Right on the other side of the mountain there was the original 13 colonies. So the Nolichucky area in Tennessee was the frontier.
Yeah.
And of course, the birthplace of Davy Crockett. So you get a lot of the frontier stories. But the Nolichucky is really unique. It's a long river, but it's actually one of the rivers that has the longest stretch of Class 3 and Class 4 whitewater anywhere in the eastern U.S. Very unique.
What are the classes, for those not familiar? Like, how high is the highest class for whitewater?
Yep. So your Class 4, your Class 5s, those are very extreme.
Okay.
Your Class 1s is kind of a ripple. A Class 2, you're starting to see some whitewater. Class 3, you're having whitewater and some wave action. 4 and 5 are pretty extreme.
Got it.
So this one has a very long stretch of continuous Class 3 and Class 4, which adds to the adventure for people wanting to paddle. And not just the small stretch for an hour. You can do a multi-day trip of Class 3 and Class 4 waters on the Nolichucky. So it's very adventurous for people to get out there and experience the whole stretch of that river. And it's also got one of the deepest gorges anywhere east of the Mississippi. So a river that cuts through the mountains with extremely deep gorge and cliffside. So it's very scenic, it's adventurous, and the fishing's amazing. Great fish, smallmouth, all through that river. Yep, a fantastic river.
I imagine you have a hard time picking a spring break location because there's so many beautiful places to take your family. So the Nolichucky being one, but what's one place that you guys have made memories together?
There are so many great places to take a family in Tennessee, so many great parks. I hate to say I have a favorite, but if I were to pick a park to take my family this week, I would probably go to Old Stone Fort Archaeological State Park, which is very unique. It's right here in Manchester in Middle Tennessee. It's about an hour and 20-minute drive from here. But that one park, you can get history, adventure, archaeology. It has over 6 waterfalls right there in the park with cliffside hiking trails that go all the way around it. But as you move through this park, you're experiencing thousands of years of history, and it's being interpreted for you on site from the Mississippian era, the Woodland era, Industrial Revolution, Civil War. All those things happened at this one park. And then there's an archaeological museum to help showcase some of those great things. So you can go to one park, spend 3 or 4 hours with a family, and they get to experience so much about Tennessee's history and our geography, topography, all the cool things that Tennessee can offer in one location.
And what was the name one more time?
Old Stone Fort State Archaeological Park.
What if you wanted to go look at a cave? I do love when my kids have the cave field trips. I just think there's something eerie and really fun. It feels like you're entering another planet when you go into a cave. So where would you recommend is the best place to see that part of Tennessee?
Yes. So I think caves are underrated for the general public. They're a magical place, especially when you take kids into a cave and let them experience that. It's amazing. One of our newest state parks, Scotts Gulf Wilderness State Park, has an amazing cave system. It's near Fall Creek Falls. It's up on the plateau. That's where most of our caves are, in the plateau area. But that has a wonderful cave with almost 7 miles of pathway within it. And about 1.5 miles in, you'll reach a 100-foot waterfall inside this cave.
Wow.
And you get to traverse, you're climbing rocks, you're going through narrow passages. There's a few places you have to crawl. And for families and kids and people of just average ability, that's a great way to get in, experience a cave, and just get a taste of the magic that that kind of underground area can offer for somebody. Caves are amazing. They're also very sensitive. So while we do like to share them and recreate in them, ecologically, they're very sensitive. There's certain habitats that are there. Bats, of course, are a sensitive habitat. But another thing unique about caves is a lot of our groundwater will filter through a cave system. So if that becomes contaminated or a problem, then our rivers and streams will also receive that contamination. And when you think about the Duck River, for instance, it's the most biodiverse river in North America. And experts will contribute that biodiversity to the water that filters through the cave and karst systems around it. So it's pulling nutrients from the limestone and other rock into that river, which then feeds the ecosystem in that river, which experts say the Duck River is biodiverse because of the karst system.
Now, Brian, we were recently at the Jack Daniel's distillery, which also provides the Jack Daniel's coming from a special stream coming out of a cave. So I have a lot of belief in the quality of the water that you're talking about here, is that if it's good enough to make Jack Daniel's, it must be good enough to be able to do the Duck River as well.
Yes, the cave and karst systems are wonderful filters for the water, for spring water. Yes.
I have a question about the discovery of caves or of kind of new features in the state, because there's part of me that thinks that every square inch of Tennessee is mapped, it's explored, it's understood, like there's nothing new under the sun, so to speak. But it also seems as though that there's new things that are yet to be discovered. And I just wonder, from your seat in your office, do you have new things that come your way to your desk of like, oh, there's this new thing that's been found, or this new intriguing thing that we should explore? Like, is that part of what you do? Or is it more like, hey, we understand that there's everything here in Tennessee, and it's just trying to prioritize what we go and kind of highlight next? Does that distinction make sense?
Yeah, a little bit of both, because there's a lot of things. Of course, Tennessee's not a new area for the country, so a lot of the area has been explored. With caves, for instance, most of the caves are on private property. So it's not a place where the public gets to just go explore, and private landowners aren't necessarily mapping all their caves and all their trails. So what we say, there's 12,000 documented caves. That's somebody has put it on a map somewhere. There's a lot more than that on private land. And so, yes, that's kind of a new frontier of exploration, just because it's not widely known or available to the public. So you have to have willing landowners that say, yes, I have this asset. I would love for you to experience it. There are some of those landowners, but the majority of landowners have their property. They know there's a cave there, and they don't invite the public to it, but it's there.
That old private property thing,
Yes, yes. But we have some great landowners, and one thing that we'd like to encourage is more private landowners to welcome public recreation on their property. You'd be surprised at how many private landowners get this sense of gratification by showing off their property and letting folks experience the wonderful thing they have. There's a lot of those folks. They have some worries about if somebody gets hurt, what happens, are they liable? So we have some work to do, I think, at the state to make them more comfortable just through education, but maybe there's even some legal changes we can make to where they're even more comfortable about allowing the public onto their property. That's something I think we should explore in Tennessee.
As a parent, Spence and I are in this place where we have a 6-year-old, but we also have preteen and teenage daughters. And I feel like their lives are so full. Spence and I are looking at each other all the time over the dinner table or like brushing our teeth, like, okay, who's picking up who and who's going to what? And it's because they've got theater and they've got sports and they've got homework. And then heaven forbid you want to have one family meal, right? And so as the research is coming out about the power of being outside, the power of being a family outside and how it helps your mental health overall.
Yeah.
Can you help people like me that honestly, it's not in our day-to-day orbit because we're not hiking every weekend because I feel like we're so busy doing other things, but I'm feeling convicted like maybe it's the simplest thing that would bring the most benefit. So for families, can you give a little bit of talk to how to incorporate that in our day-to-day life and what the benefits might be?
Yeah, well, I think anecdotally, we all understand there's some benefits. We all feel good when
Sure.
we get outside. Outdoors is probably the cheapest medicine that you could possibly have. It has physical health benefits. It has mental health benefits. It has emotional and social benefits. We all feel it. I think research is still kind of catching up to what exactly those are, but there's definitely studies out there that show that it decreases your stress levels when you're outside. I think to the tune of 21%, just being outside for 20 to 30 minutes. It decreases the risk of diabetes and heart disease. I think heart disease, regular outdoor activities like hiking and biking by 30%. Your social and emotional well-being, being outside with people builds better bonds between people. It gives you connection with nature. It just helps you feel better. So there's lots of studies out there that show there's great benefits, physical, mental, and emotional and social benefits to being outside. And that's something that I think we need to focus on. And there's actually a national conversation going on right now about not only how to track and measure those benefits, but how to encourage people to take advantage of them. Our state, for instance, is noted for being one of the least healthy states in the country. So for Tennessee, it's going to be great for us to focus more on the outdoor health benefits because it's inexpensive, but it has great returns. So this could be a great way for Tennessee to get healthier by simply going outside, experiencing nature, and having a little fun.
How does your family do it? Are you guys just out? Do you pick a new trail every weekend? Is there a website that I am missing that will tell me where all the trailheads are? Like, how do you practically integrate it into busy teen kid life?
Yeah, so finding time's always a challenge.
Yeah.
Like you, I have a 12-year-old and 9-year-old. They're both into sports. That's a full-time job. Mainly for my wife, she has to take them every day and figure out their logistical challenges throughout the evening. But just making dedicated time on the weekend, going out as a family, you'd be surprised at what a Google search will turn up and how many opportunities to get outside are around you. I get questioned a lot like, well, what park's nearby or what state park should I go to? And I always offer a suggestion, but I think people will be surprised if they simply looked online. They'll find their local park probably has a lot to offer. There's probably a state park nearby. There's one within an hour drive of every Tennessean. So if people just take the time to look, do a little bit of planning, they can have a great time outside with their family. It just takes a little proactive effort to get out there and do it. Not everybody has a park in their backyard, so there's a little bit of effort to get outside.
Yeah.
One of the stats that we read earlier was the economic contribution to the state and the 109,000 jobs. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around that because, there's 7 million Tennesseans and 109,000 jobs is a really significant number of jobs across that many Tennesseans. So help me understand what some of those jobs are. Because like if I had to name some, I'd be like a park attendant, and like I'd start to name like a couple, and then I think it'd fall off really quickly to get to 109,000. So maybe just help us understand how you're employing so many people through this.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that 109,000 jobs equals about 3% of all the employment in Tennessee.
Wow.
There are a lot of jobs in the outdoor recreation industry. And I was actually at UT this week talking with the School of Natural Resources, and they have a major now, a concentration for outdoor recreation and park management. the kids are having a hard time finding it. They're having a hard time understanding what are those jobs.
Yeah.
So this question is actually very relevant, even for the University of Tennessee right now, because there are so many jobs, but people don't tend to think about it. So, for instance, in East Tennessee, there's a huge marine manufacturing industry. Some of the most notable and major boat manufacturers in the world are right around in the Knoxville area. Sea Ray, for instance. So many people are employed making boats that get shipped all over the world.
Wow.
That's considered outdoor recreation because they're using that asset to go play outside, to go on a lake, a river, the ocean. It's coming right from Tennessee. So there's lots of manufacturing jobs for products that people are building to use. Mountain biking, paddles. Jackson Kayak is based in the middle/East Tennessee area. That's another avenue for employment. Guide services is a smaller business framework for outdoor recreation. Retail is another one. Bass Pro Shops is probably one of the bigger ones, but there are even small retail shops geared toward outdoor goods and apparel. And that's all considered outdoor recreation industry employment. So lots of jobs, lots of careers. And I hope that more kids will pay attention to that and know that, wow, I can have a meaningful, well-paying career in outdoor recreation, probably having a little fun along the way.
What does your office look like for those that work closest to you? Help us understand just a little bit more on the administrative side, which is maybe the more boring side, but just some of the objectives of your office. Give us a high-level view of what you hope to accomplish over kind of the tail end of Governor Lee's administration, who, as you mentioned before, has been the most environmentally active governor that this state has seen. It's really incredible the amount of resources he's devoted towards the creation and reinforcement of parks across the state.
Yes, it's very impressive. We actually have some major goals that we've outlined in our strategic plan. They're pretty ambitious, but they keep us driven. Our first goal is that Tennessee is going to have the highest quality network of recreation waterways in the country. So we're talking about Blue Ways, Tennessee, and the 15 rivers we're investing in now. There's probably more rivers we can invest in down the road, but the governor has contributed millions of dollars. The legislature approved that to make investments in those rivers. Another goal is for Tennessee to have the highest quality network of regional trails and greenways in the country. So when most people go outside, they're probably thinking about a trail. If they're going hunting, if they're going hiking, if they're going biking, typically to get outside, if you're not on water, you're probably on some trail in most cases.
Yeah.
So having a large focus on trails, local greenways, natural trails through the woods, through the forests, but really focusing more on regional connectivity as opposed to one trail system in one location. So that's something that we're going to focus on over the next several years. But we also want to use those to create better tourism in Tennessee. So another goal we have is that Tennessee is going to be a premier destination for outdoor recreation east of the Rockies. We want people to know that Tennessee is a place to go for outdoor recreation. And when you think about other areas in the world, like Costa Rica, for example, it sounds weird to equate us to Costa Rica, but when you think about the topography and the resources they have, Tennessee's not really all that much different. They're a rainforest. Tennessee is considered a temperate rainforest. The assets are very similar. We were there 6 months ago, and all the things that we did outside, from whitewater rafting to canyoning to zip lining, all the things that Costa Rica is known for, we can do it right here in Tennessee with very similar assets. So we just need to do a better job of sharing that, appreciating that, and the economy and opportunity will build around that. So tourism is a huge driver for that. And then the fourth goal we have is that Tennessee is going to have the strongest outdoor economy east of the Rockies. And hopefully it's because of goal 1, 2, and 3 that we're able to achieve that.
I just think a lot of people are going to be really surprised by some of these stats. Like, hey, we're not that different than Costa Rica. Hey, we have more caves than everybody else. Hey, like, what a cool state that we live in. But I think it's also surprising because I think we get tunnel vision in our days and our lives. And maybe we are outside and in our local communities and in the walkways and the parks near us. But to understand who we are as Tennesseans across the whole state, I mean, that's really something to be proud of.
Yeah, there's really an outdoor renaissance, I would say, happening right now, especially in Tennessee, because of our record investments into our outdoor spaces. People have this renewed appreciation for the outdoors. Tennessee's not alone in that. It's happening all over the country. We're just doing a really good job of taking advantage of it and making the investments and capitalizing on it because we know it will pay off dividends down the road for our grandchildren's grandchildren. So Tennessee has done a great job of recognizing the momentum and appreciation in the outdoors and really capitalizing on it. And that's a large part of why our office even exists.
Brian, we've had the chance to talk to a number of different appointed individuals, elected officials, and I just wonder, is your role the type of thing that extends across administrations? Like, is it something that you hope and could see yourself doing past the end of Governor Lee's administration, who's term limited and is going to end in the near future? Or is this kind of your last year, your siren song? You're going to do everything that you can do, and then you're going to return back to the private sector?
The goals that we've set do not end with Governor Lee's administration. And that's the beauty of the work that we're in. They are long-term goals. So there's a lot of things that I still hope to accomplish in Tennessee's great outdoors. There's a lot I hope to accomplish working for the state of Tennessee. So I would say there's still a lot to be done.
Yeah.
I'm not planning to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Love that.
Brian, we talked earlier about Tennessee being one of the unhealthiest states. And Tennessee has a lot of records that we're proud of, a lot of things that we do well. And I think Tennessee is pretty focused on being authentic to say that there's areas that we have to improve. So talk about some of the programs and initiatives that you have that are designed to try to reverse course other than just, hey, we want to make the outdoors more accessible. Like, what are you actually doing to help move the needle?
Yeah, so there's a lot of programs that we offer throughout Tennessee State Parks that encourage people to get outside. One program that was actually started in Tennessee State Parks is the Healthy Parks, Healthy Person program. And the idea there was to create a framework that encourages people to get outside and experience the health benefits. So there's a free app that was developed. The state of Tennessee actually built it. People can go outside, they track their progress, and they generate rewards based on the activities they do. And then they can turn those points into actual outdoor gear or trips in parks. And so it gives them a little bit of an incentive and a reward for getting outside. But another avenue there is medical providers use that app and the framework for park prescriptions. So if they think that somebody would benefit from getting outside, they can use this app and this platform to offer a park prescription. Go outside, experience these benefits. Hopefully it's going to make some improvement in your condition, whatever that is. This app is a way for healthcare providers to do that, which is pretty novel. We've since moved it out of state government because technology and government are not great, and we realize that. So we were like, if that thing is going to be successful, it needs to get out of state government, get its own life, and now it has its own life. It's a 501c3. It's doing the great work it's doing, and now other states and local governments are paying attention to this, and they're wanting to replicate it. So I'm hoping that that program continues to be successful and that other states and other cities can replicate it for their own community.
Brian, did you consider making some of the points redeemable for some of this state's delicious fried food? Was that part of the consideration? Or?
That might have the inverse impact that we had hoped for.
Okay, all right. Well, I just wanted to know if it was, considered because, it's like you go outside and then you get to eat. But you're probably right. I don't know that
That's
would
probably
move
our framework.
needle. Yeah.
That's probably not what he's promoting. That's just the patent way.
Yeah, I will work out for food, but
Yeah.
I can appreciate the program, and that's fun to hear.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
to
another
hear.
one I'll mention real quick is we call it Access 2030, but it's really about park accessibility. And for that one, it's all about removing barriers for people to experience the outdoors, largely focused on people with disabilities. So about 35% of Tennesseans have some form of disability. That's a huge segment of our population. So we're doing things in our state park system and now local parks like ATV wheelchairs, adult changing tables, adaptive kayak launches, colorblind viewfinders, lots of things like that to remove barriers so that more of our population can experience our parks and our great outdoors. And so we're making it more accessible across Tennessee.
It's funny you say that, Brian. I was at a park just a couple weeks ago, and my CFO is colorblind. And that's really a dangerous thing for a CFO, by the way, because when you are red, green, colorblind as a CFO, I really need him to know what is green and what is red, because that's pretty mission critical. But we were walking through a park, just kind of doing an offsite dreaming, thinking about the business. And we came up to one of those viewfinders, and there was a colorblind viewfinder. And it was like a bird watching viewfinder. And we were both just blown away, because he never has seen any type of accommodation for someone that was colorblind. And so we had a real ball with it. And we probably talked about that for 10 minutes. And
that's great.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I was like, who in the world had the thought and foresight to put a colorblind viewfinder out here? But he really appreciated it.
You'd be surprised at how many people are colorblind.
Yeah.
And that would love to have one of those, especially in the fall.
Yeah.
That's when they really want to see those colors.
I'm so inspired leaving this conversation. Not only have you guys leveraged technology and spun that out so it can be even more successful, your conservation work that you guys are doing, and then accessibility. I always like to ask people in your position, if you had to dream a little bit, like if you had a magic wand and you could say, this is one thing that I could do, that I could make possible if there was no limit to my time, if there was no limit to my resources, what do you wish, if you could wave that would be available in Tennessee for the great outdoors?
I would love to see a very strong focus on elementary age kids in getting outdoors. I think we made some movement with like little things like recess time in schools, but I would love to see more opportunity to get elementary grade kids out into Tennessee's great outdoors, going to a state park, a local park, where there's a true experience of nature, not just the playground behind the school, but more time outside. Because I think if we can capture them young, they'll have an appreciation for the outdoors, and that they will take that with them going forward and receive the benefits, the health benefits, the mental benefits, the social benefits that the great outdoors can offer. And I think that will help our society in general in a tremendous way. But we know we have to start young, and we know that's a big lift. And if money were no problem, I would love to see a program at every elementary school in the state of Tennessee that takes them to a park, maybe even an overnighter. If you fifth graders, I don't know what the right age is there for elementary school kids, but that's what I would love to see. More youth in the outdoors, because I think the dividends, the payoff would be tremendous for our future.
You know what I heard in that answer, Carly? He wants to be the director of recess. That's what I heard right there.
That was a full
The
circle
chief
answer.
camp counselor.
Yes.
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 Brian, we end every podcast with 3 short fill-in-the-blank sentences where
fun.
I'll read you a short prompt and there'll be a blank at the end. You can either fill it in with a word or a short phrase that you think completes the thought. But if you'll just repeat the prompt back to me and then fill in the blank with whatever you think, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 1, the program or initiative I'm most proud of in my office is blank.
The program or initiative that I'm most proud of in our office is probably Blue Ways TN.
And Blue Ways TN, for those that maybe have joined halfway through, is?
This is the state's investment in recreation waterways to make them more clean and more accessible so that everyone can enjoy the rivers and streams that Tennessee has to offer.
Perfect. Number 2, one Tennessee outdoor experience everyone should try at least once is blank.
One Tennessee outdoor experience that everyone should experience, I think, is caving. It's underrated. A lot of people haven't done it. So that's, I think, a gap that people can jump into and say, I want to go experience caving. We have more caves than anywhere else in the country. The opportunity for them is endless here in Tennessee. I would say experience a cave.
And from like a notorious indoorsy girl, I love a cave trip. It's very fun. It's very accessible, and you don't get sunburned. It's great.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
There
don't
are
have to take
bats, but
sunscreen.
usually not mosquitoes. It's great.
Yeah, not even many insects in
Yep.
there. No bug spray, no sunscreen.
See, super accessible.
Number 3, spending time outside teaches you blank.
Spending time outside teaches you self-awareness and confidence, I think. You're experiencing challenges, adventure. You have to typically do it on your own. and you get to experience things that you don't in your house or in your school or in your work.
Brian, it's been a real treat to have you on the podcast today. I love seeing what Governor Lee's priorities are. When you look across the political spectrum, usually when you think about what side of the aisle is going to invest a lot in environmental conservation, most people by default is just going to say, okay, that's probably the Democrat side. That's probably the left side. And to see Governor Lee having invested what is the most profound thing in Tennessee's history for protecting our state and all that it has to offer, that it contributes 3% of the job creation comes from this space. It's really fantastic to see your role and your passion for the role. And so thank you for highlighting some of the fun things that Tennessee has to offer here today.
Yes, this has been great. And your comment about the political spectrums, and Tennessee is a conservative state. We like to say that conservation is conservative. And this is a way that Tennessee is actually leading the nation among red states. And we're doing a very good job at it. And I think people are starting to realize it's not a left issue or an environmental issue. Both sides of the political spectrum appreciate the great outdoors, and conservation specifically can be conservative.
Well, hopefully whoever our next governor becomes, your role and your office will extend through those administrations and get to keep aiming towards a lot of those goals that you're doing.
Lots of great work to do.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.